This is Dads and Dunks, your To The Point Wolves Talk podcast. I'm Tom.
And I'm Josh.
For the playoffs, we're calling an audible, quick pods, what's the pulse, what stood out, and what to look for next. 15 to 20-minute drops every game. All right, Josh, how we feeling after this one? Let's get to it.
So I have a lot of thoughts. I hope you do too. This was like the best time of day game for me, like at 2:30 on the weekend, where I was like, oh, sweet, I'm going to watch this. I'm going to be very locked in. And we didn't win. So that was kind of a bummer. There's a lot of things about the players and the coaches and the strategy they want to get into. But if anyone's been on Wolves Twitter, I feel like the first thing we need to talk about is the officiating. Not because maybe it's the biggest factor, but because I think we need to talk about that, acknowledge it, and then move on from that and talk about all the other parts of the game. So I'd like to turn over to you, Tom. If we're going to talk about officiating, what's the first thing that pops in your mind?
Same as you to start. I don't want to dwell on just have the whole pod just be complaining about officials. That feels like a not a good use of our time, and I don't think people want to hear us talk about that the whole time either. But the quick whistles were something. I texted you and Jamal Murray jumped forward a foot and like barely touched Jaden's foot, and I know that's a foul, but it just has to be a foul in the NBA because but all in all, the quick whistles were pretty brutal. And so I went through, and obviously in the end, Murray 16 free throws to Ant 7. I wanted to look at the numbers and see. I follow the Wolves a lot. I don't watch a lot just Denver games all the time. I don't have time to watch all their games. So I was trying to figure out is Jamal Murray generally somebody who does get a lot of foul calls? And on cleaning the glass, he was only at 9.7% of his shot attempts were fouled in the regular season. And Ant's up near 14. For reference, Shea's at almost 18. So it's a lot more. So that actually proves the point, though, that that normally he doesn't get that many whistles. And he's got a lot of whistles. So I think I just wanted to see, this is just standard? Is this just like Shea, he's getting all these whistles? And he generally doesn't. So I do think that is something that we need to mention. How about you?
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats. So people who aren't, Murray got 16 free throws, to your point. They had 33 free throws as a team. The Wolves had 19 free throws as a team. The Murray stuff was pretty obvious. I hear what you're saying about that is a foul with Jaden. I get it. And if you're shooting a 3-pointer and you land a foot and a half in front of the 3-point line, like how much landing space is a defender supposed to give that shooter? Are you supposed to expect them to jump 2 feet forward? I mean, because you're supposed to close out on defense. So I'm not sure how you do that. And then I think what's really compelling is you can contrast that with Ant shooting that 1-3 when the guy literally jumps into his landing space. Ant goes straight up and down. That's not a call, but Ant didn't fall over. And I think that's what's frustrating is if you want to call it really tight, okay, call it really tight both ways. But I mean, Aaron Gordon, there's the clip of Aaron Gordon just doing a classic cat travel, taking 5 steps into Julius Randle, trying to get a foul call. That would have been an offensive foul. That would have been a travel on Cat, and it's a defensive foul on Julius. Jokic smacking Jaden in the face. I mean, yeah, Jaden pushed him afterwards, but if you call that, then that doesn't happen. It just felt like it was an uneven game, that certain times physicality was allowed and certain times physicality was not allowed. And I think in general, the Wolves do play with a little more physicality than most teams. So I think that's a bummer. And I think as much as the team said post-game, we just got to move on from that, I think it's hard in the moment. I feel like it really bugged Nas, Julius, some of those guys. And I think it has more of an impact than just they, shot twice as many free throws as we did.
Yeah, there was a play. Julius on an inbound had gotten a little tangled with somebody on Denver. I don't remember who it was, and they
I think it
called
was
him.
Aaron Gordon.
It was Aaron Gordon. And then right after that, Ant went up for a rebound and got absolutely destroyed and was on the ground and got knocked over. And we got the rebound anyway, and we're on a fast break the other way, but he was just laying under the hoop and it just gotten absolutely slammed and they didn't call anything. So I don't know if Ant's on the ground under the hoop, he didn't get there on his own. He definitely got
That's a
hit.
good point.
It was unfortunate. You can't win a series against a team that's this good when you have uneven officiating. But there was a lot of other reasons that we lost the game, and I'm happy to talk more about those too. But that was a bummer, and I'm glad we mentioned it because a lot of times I said I don't love to just talk about the officials, but this one seemed pretty obvious to me.
And Finch made some comments post game. Some other guys on the team made some comments post game. I mean, it's clearly a factor. We'll see if it changes anything. I don't know. Jamal Murray being like, "Oh, they were all fouls." Fouls. Like, what are you talking about? It's just, I don't know. Jamal Murray is also somebody that I just don't really like.
I don't
I
like
mean,
him either.
even you talking about like what percentage of his scoring comes from the free throw line. Comparing it to Ant and Shea. Ant and Shea go to the basket way more than he does. I mean, Jamal
Yeah,
Murray is good, but he
yeah.
is like a jump shooter. He does go to the basket sometimes, but I don't know. Like there was the one where he just fell over and they called the foul on Jaden kind of in the mid range. It's like, what are we doing, guys? Um, yeah. So I think that's a big component of it. Um, but the Wolves ended up losing the game 105 to 116. It was kind of a game of runs. So we were up 10 after the first quarter. I felt really good. Then they outscored us by 10 in the second. So we ended up tied at half. Then they outscored us 29 to 17 in the third quarter. And it looked bad. I mean, we went on like a 4 or 5 minute drought of just not scoring at all in the third quarter. They had a double-digit lead. We kind of pulled back towards the end of the third, got it under 10. And the fourth quarter, we outscored them by 1. But it was also like up and down. Like I think we got it to within 2 points at one point. Then we had some turnovers. There's a lot of things we can take from this game, and we can get negative, we can get positive. I feel like we can play with this team. I feel like Denver is great, yes, but like if the Wolves play up to their full potential, we can beat them.
We can. I'm a little worried about it for a number of reasons. Ant and Nas's health. Do you think that they're okay? It felt like maybe they're not.
I don't think Ant is 100%. I don't think we thought he would be. I think Jaden looks like he's probably 100%. We weren't sure about that. The Nas shoulder thing, I mean, that's been bugging him for months. And honestly, ever since that originally happened, I want to say it was like 60-ish days ago, he really just hasn't been himself. He still had some good games. But I mean, I texted you, I think in the first half, I'm like, man, he's just like barely missing all of these shots. And it's like the little like half hook that he always gets, or it's like, his cool 3-point shot. Like he was getting to the spots that he's really effective at. And I feel like he was just missing. And I never thought Nas was like a playoff riser. So I'm not sure if, it's the moment, but I got to imagine the injury is part of it. But what I think is telling, and this is from Jake Painting. Jake Painting is awesome. He's on Twitter. He does really cool breakdowns, videos. He talked about how he said, no matter how bad Nas Reed is playing, and he was ungodly bad last night, the starters with him instead always works. The Wolves were +7 in the 2 minutes and 46 seconds last night, and we've been +26 in 92 total minutes for the season. So even when Nas was bad post All-Star break, with Nas struggling, they were +11 in the 29 minutes that he played with those guys. I know you asked about Nas and Ant. Man, I feel like Julius did not have a good game. And I don't think he's hurt. There might have been some ticky-tack calls, but he was not effective offensively. He was not trying hard defensively. Like there was that one play, people can find this clip on social media, where we had a great defensive possession. Juice is actually a part of it. And they got the ball back, like it was kind of loose, and they shot basically a half-court shot, and it like went buzzer hits, barely grazed the rim. They got the rebound. Aaron Gordon runs back from like half court, gets wide open dunk, and Julius is just kind of jogging after him. Like, Julius, like run after that guy. Like, what are we doing? I can't take it with like not trying hard. It's the playoffs. I feel like we need Julius to be effective. And I felt like one of the best times we had during the game was when he had to leave early with 2 fouls in the first quarter.
He did not play well. And in our playoff preview pod from last week, I had mentioned if you have a bad shooting day or a bad performance from Julius, like 0 for 3 from 3, like he was, and then you compound that with Jaden going 0 for 4 from 3, and only 2 of 9, you're not gonna. We had to have a very powerful offense to overcome Denver, and we still do, and that's just not going to cut it. But what I do want to talk about in terms of our offense as well, not to, and I think everybody's seen that Julius Randle needs to play better, and I would like more Nas minutes too. I don't want to just keep harping on him. He needs to play better. I think we all know that. And also, we need to play with more pace. And I just want to mention the pace numbers here. It looked like they weren't getting out in transition. There was one play in particular. Remember, Jaden got it, long rebound up by the 3-point line, and he turns around and he throws it back to Ant about 10 feet back in the middle just to walk the ball up and start the half court offense. I was like, oh, that just seemed emblematic of the day. And so when I was looking through the percentages of their pace of play, 13% of their plays were in transition. Their season average is 18, so that doesn't sound like a lot. That's 5, but it's actually a 30% dip in fast break when you do the math. So that's noticeably slower even last year than last year's pace, which was bottom of the league slow at 14.5%. So I don't know. They went like way, way back to like how they were playing last year, but they were even slower. And part of that just felt like that energy, that momentum, that Julius not hustling. There was that other play where Io tracked down full court, got the block, and then nobody else was behind him to clean it up. And he was like, come on, like waving the guys
Yeah.
over. That little stuff in the playoffs, that was strange to me. I would think that like pace and energy and chasing down, that the whole team would be on that for game one in Denver. And it didn't feel that way. And it felt disjointed. And the half court offense didn't feel like it was fun. When it was, and we got hot, especially in the first, like I've said, when things snowball and they feel good, they
Yeah.
feel good. But then when they start to feel bad and they fall apart, that's when you can lean on pace more. I would hope. Like that's when it's like, okay, this half court's not working. Let's get out and run and inject some pace. And then I want to harp on the ridiculous lineup that they put out there that was not helpful with pace. But I wanted your take on the pace first before I rip Finch for his lineup combo in the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's important to play with pace. I think part of playing with pace is you got to stop the other team from scoring. And we didn't stop them from scoring enough. They scored 116, but they were like 1 from 15 from three in the second half. They shot 28% from three. They were the number one 3-point shooting team in the league this year. I don't know if we're going to get them to go that cold from the 3-point line again. I mean, probably not, right? Like chances
No.
or a lot of averages would tell you no. Um, I think pace is important. Again, I think you need to stop them. I think you need to play with the lineup that can actually do that work. I liked that it felt like Jaden was empowered in the first quarter to like do some great things. He was a team worst minus 17. But I felt like he was really impactful when he was playing. Um, so yeah, I think pace is a way to do that. I also think that like I think we're deeper than they are. They don't have Peyton Watson right now. He's one of their top 6-7 players. Again, our players aren't all healthy, but I think we're deeper. So like I think those things are helpful. But they're the number one offense, and you kind of got to stop them to be able to do the play with pace. And I don't know if that's gonna be possible.
Yeah, they looked like they were connected and they had some pace, some energy in that first quarter. And then we got Gordon to have his third foul. Mike Conley stepped in and took one in the face and did a
That was a
little bit of
big play.
acting, but it was great. He did get hit. Veteran play on his part. And we did not take advantage of that time when Jokic and Gordon were off. And that's where I want to harp on coaching right now. I've been, you know, kinder to Finch than you, but now it's my turn
The floor is
because
yours. The floor is yours.
man, so the lineup that we're talking about here, you had all of your guys out there, right? You had um Kyle Anderson, you had Io, you had Mike,
Bones.
Bones, and Nas. Why I put that in cleaning the glass because it's like when just the eye test, I was like, what is this crew? What am I watching right now? And there was no data on cleaning the glass for this lineup. So I don't know what you're doing
Shocking.
trotting this lineup out in the playoffs. If you want to like slow things down, you want it because things are getting a little chaotic and you bring in slow-mo, sure. But pick a lineup. I went through cleaning the glass. There's not a ton of lineup data because he hasn't been in as much, but anything over 40 possessions. There's a lineup where you have Rudy, Nas, slow-mo, Desumu and Bones, and it's plus 17.6 in a point differential. It's like, seems like a good enough mix to me. You get a starter in there in Rudy so that you actually have like, you still have that presence. You can just try to run up the score. Why are you playing I get that you want to rest your guys when they're resting their guys or when they don't have their best. And so I understand the matching component, but when you are up 10 and you have an opportunity on the road to take it to them and bring a big lead into half and keep momentum, I don't understand what that was at all. Yeah, I don't know.
I agree. I mean, that was the start of the second quarter. That was like the biggest opportunity where Jokic wasn't getting on the floor. He played 40 minutes. I think he sat for 6 or 7 to start the second quarter. Um, and to your point, like even if you're going to sit some of your starters, like they had Jamal Murray in there, and I believe we were up 10 when that happened. And I think by the time we put the starters back in, we're only up like 5 points. And that's the time when you should be extending the lead. So I agree with you. I I don't know. I think that was a weird thing. I'm curious if like the Julius foul trouble had something to do with that, and then bringing in Nas, if like that messed up their rotations. I thought it was weird that Conley got minutes. I thought if anything, like maybe Shannon would get a couple minutes just because of like I thought transition playing with pace would be something they'd really try to like emphasize, and he's good at that. I say all that, and if I look at the numbers, Conley was 0, not minus, not plus, in his 11 minutes. He hit his only shot. He had a couple assists, a rebound. So, I mean, when he was out there, it wasn't like it was a huge net negative. But I do wonder if there have been other players out there. If maybe we could have like extended that lead to your point.
Yeah, Conley's not to blame. I just think when you have all of those players out there, that is, what, what was that? I was like, is this the Timberwolves team? What, where's the rest of, where are our good players? Um, why are they all sitting at the same time? Especially because Rudy, and I get that Rudy was locking down Jokic as good as anyone can.
We got to
Honestly, he
talk about
played
Rudy.
so well. We do have to talk about Rudy. So I get giving him rest when Jokic was off. I understand. I get it, but throw a starter in that lineup, please, and try to get someone out there who can score with some punch. That was just, yeah, I don't get it. But yeah, we should talk about Rudy because he deserves a lot of credit for that game.
So I think if we want to talk about some of the more positives, I think Rudy is probably up there at the top. He scored 17 points on 9 shots. He had 10 boards, a couple assists, 1 steal. Doesn't credit him with any blocks, but there was a bunch of Rudy Neverminds in there. And I think what's actually more interesting is if you look at Jokic's numbers, like Jokic had 5 turnovers. I think a lot of those were caused by Rudy. And Jokic had 25 points on 19 shots, 13 boards, 11 assists, again, 5 turnovers. I mean, that's not like I know that's amazing, right? He just got a triple double on 19 shots, but like for Jokic, like those are not great numbers. I mean, those are good numbers for him, but that's not like, the 50-point triple doubles he puts up half the time. I thought Rudy played really great defense on him. Yeah, Jokic is always going to get his. But I was really impressed. I thought he caught, like we want to talk about the offense. Rudy caught a lot of balls I didn't think he normally catches. He finished a lot of layups and dunks he doesn't normally finish. There was a big sequence, was at the end of the third or the fourth, when we were only down by a couple, and Julius had the ball, and you could see Rudy's like throw it up, and Julius tried to hit him with like a bounce pass, and we lost it, and I think we went from just being down 2 to being down 5. It was kind of a momentum killer. But I thought this was Rudy's best playoff game since that 2020 game he had against the Lakers last playoffs to close it out. I thought he played great. If he can play like this every series, and I think Jaden said this post game, like if Rudy can play like this every game, like we're gonna win the series. And it's hard for me to push back. Like, man, if that's playoff Rudy, sign me up.
Yeah, it's interesting that it was Jaden that said it too, because I feel like he's pretty quiet and he doesn't tend to just like throw out a lot of compliments like that to everybody. Like Ant generally does a lot of that, kind of like blowing smoke. But he played well, and it was clear that Jokic was flustered by it. He was up on him tight, poking at the ball, like the reach around poking. I was like, oh, that's new. So he came out. Rudy had a plan and executed his plan, and I think that that's where like a lot of the times when we get into these slumps, when that offense looks bad, you get people not hustling back. Like his effort, he had a plan, he gave it effort, and he executed that. And I think Io had a couple of like it's the playoffs, maybe nerve things where he took a long three that he shouldn't have. But otherwise, he too feels like a player that has a plan and sticks to a plan and can execute it. Rudy did that at a very high level against Jokic. So finishing through contact and layups, like finishing with like some soft touch
Just
around
a
the rim.
finishing package that I'm not used to seeing from him. So I don't know. And
Yeah.
and I agree. Like when he was defending Jokic, I felt like he was using his hands a lot more than I've seen him when he defends Jokic. He's usually like kind of, bodying him, but I don't know if Jokic will have a counter for that, but it was just interesting to see that he defended him very differently. And again, Jokic had a great game, but I don't think we lost because Jokic just like blew us out of the water. So that was cool. I think another thing that went well, you can look at the stat sheet, you can watch the game. I thought Io and DDV were both like brought energy, brought hustle. I thought they both shot the ball well. Again, we shot 32% from three as a team, but Io was 3 for 7. Dante was 4 for 7. They hustled. I thought they got out and played hard. I thought if we get that kind of effort from those guys and that kind of shooting, I feel pretty good. I thought Jaden had a really good first half. I think he had 10 points in the first quarter, 8 boards. I thought he was really active. I think Ant's getting a lot of crap for, not having a great game. And I do think either he's injured, kind of to your point, or I think he's got to also be a little bit rusty. I feel like anytime he misses a few games, the first game he comes back, he doesn't shoot super great. And he didn't shoot super well. 7 from 19, 2 for 9 from three. But he had 9 boards. He had 7 assists. He had 3 blocks. And I was looking at some stats from ESPN. On offense, his teammates were 5 for 5 off his passes. And he assisted on 23 points. Sorry, he scored or assisted on 23 points in the first half. And then all of his field goals attempts were contested. And on defense, the guy that he was defending was held to 1 for 6 shooting. And again, he had those 3 blocks. So the shooting, maybe the accuracy wasn't totally there. I don't know if he went to the basket maybe as many times as he could have, but I felt like the other pieces, like locking in by rebounding, hitting the open man, having a few block shots. I feel like those other pieces of his game were there. I don't think he was great in the second half. He took some contested shots, but I think he was just trying to like, hey, I'm the alpha. I got to get this going. I'm our clutch time guy. I don't know. I mean, what do you do? And then if he's passive, do you say that he was passive? But I really like the way he played in the first half. I think the rust is going to come off and hopefully he shoots better. But I think I liked a lot of things Ant did. I loved Rudy's game. I liked Io. I liked DDV. I liked parts of Jaden's game. I don't know. Those are some of the
Yeah, they got to pull
positives.
it all together. There was a lot of positives. The didn't look like the lift was quite there with Ant on some of those shots too, and that makes me a little bit concerned that it might, if it's more injury than rust. But to your point, when he has come back, he defers a lot more his first game back from injury. I've noticed he tries to get the feel of the game and let other people do more early on, and I think that he needs to do a little more, but that is generally a good formula for this team is to have everyone involved early and let Ant be the clutch time guy and take over towards the end of games when it's close. So as opposed to Ant just trying to take it over on his own, which you're not gonna be able to do in the playoffs anyway. But I'm cautiously optimistic that it's rust, and also just really concerned if Nas can't is injured and can't play to his level, and Ant can't play to his level. How you take down this team without being at full health, even if you are all playing really well. If you're just even each 10% less, that makes me concerned. But there was a lot of good. Rudy played really well. I think if you just tweak a few things and keep the foot on the gas and make sure they're geared up and ready to go, I think they've got it. They still got a good chance to try to steal this one. It's only one game, so next game,
Yeah.
if we're coming out of this and we're down 2 games to 1, we can still win this thing in 7. I don't know. I'm not overly concerned. I just a little bit concerned.
Well, we lost the game, so it makes sense that we're a little bit concerned. I mean, I always thought we'd lose the first game. My thing was we'd win the second game. I always thought Ant would come back rusty, got to figure it out. I mean, if you would have told me that Jamal Murray was 0 for 8 and they shoot 28% from three and Jokic only scores 25 points, I would have hoped that we win the game.
Yep.
Again, we didn't shoot great. It was Ant's first game back. We had that funky lineup in the second quarter when we could have put our foot on the gas. I think if we can find a way to play our effective guys, if Ant can figure it out, If Jaden can put the pedal to the metal, I mean, if Rudy can play like that, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm also curious. Christian Brown was 2 for 3 from 3-point, but like I would leave that guy open. Like, do they play defense in a different way where they try to like, I don't know, not give up on him because I think he's like a good basketball player and he'll cut and he'll find ways to be effective. But do you kind of like live and die with him maybe being in the corner, giving attention to some other guys? Do the refs have a different whistle when it comes to Jamal Murray? I don't know. I'm still excited. My biggest bummer is like it's a 9:30 start time. That sucks. Um, but I'm gonna stay up and I'm gonna make it happen. Um, yeah, I'm excited for the game. I think it's fun playing the Nuggets. I mean, people talk about rivalries, whether we are, whether we're not. I think we're rivals.
I'd fe- wh- What's the definition of a rivalry? We've faced them in the playoffs multiple times. They've taken us out. We took them out. Largest game 7 comeback. I mean, feels like it to me.
Even that like game 82, however many years ago with Jimmy Butler, like I don't know, like that's when like the Jokic thing started. We've played him so much.
And
We played him on Christmas. I don't know, like
Feels like Jaden wants to just beat the shit out of all of them.
I think Jaden hates pretty much. He hates the Suns. He hates he hates the Nuggets. He probably hates the Lakers. He hates the Thunder. I think he hates the Mavericks. Yeah, man, I think he hates a lot of teams. But we've played him so much. We've met in the playoffs. We both have, top 10 players. They've won a championship. We haven't, so that's fair. But we did knock them out, to your point, a couple years ago. So I think it's a rivalry. I think it's fun. I'm expecting us to play better in certain ways game 2. I'm sure Denver will also try the same thing. Um, Also, if anybody out there is a parent of young children, 10,000 takes on Twitter shared the picture of the book No David, and it's kind of like this creepy looking kid, and then they juxtaposed it with David Adelman, and like they look like they're exactly the same person. Like that's who David from the book grew up to be. Find that, you will laugh. Um, but I'm rooting for our team on Monday night, and I feel pretty good. I think we're gonna get the win.
It's gonna be 1-1 then. All right,
Yeah,
we've
going
got
back
it.
to
Oh yeah,
Minneapolis.
things to look for. There'll be adjustments, but that was a fun pod. Let's do it. Should we wrap?
Alrighty.
All right, let's do it. If you like the show, follow, rate, like, subscribe, and tell a friend.
We post new content for community conversations on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube all week.
This is Dads and Dunks. Go Wolves.
Go Wolves. Go Jaden McDaniels.